Hey, all right. I know it's been forever, but this is my journal entry. I'm just kind of feeling where we're going with this. So, I have some recent news. Maryland, last electoral cycle, the voters decided well over, I think it was like 65, 68% in favor of cannabis reform and legalization. So, Maryland General Assembly is looking at it right now. HB0556. Put a link down below. It's cannabis reform. Cannabis reform is right here in front of us. One thing that I've done some research into this, as you can see by some of my links and publications and writing that I've been doing, mainly on the regulation of cannabis. I'm not getting in any of the whole moral, dogma, all that stuff, anything. No. I'm looking at trying to ensure that not only is this product brought into the regulatory scheme, if you will, but also becomes a source of revenue, but also social change for our society. So, with that said, we're looking at House Bill 556, Cannabis Reform. Now, there have been a number of pitfalls that a number of the recreational and decriminalizing bills have done, and a number of those are outlined in my ebook, Decriminalization, the handbook for the recently decriminalized. Again, I'll put a link down below. This bill, I think, avoids a number of the pitfalls, mainly in regards to where it places the regulatory powers. Right now, it's placing it within the Alcohol Tobacco Commission within the state of Maryland. That is an offshoot of the comptroller's tax and licensing powers over alcoholic beverages as well as tobacco products in the state. This would create a new division within the ATC, and so it would actually turn into the ATCC, if you will, Cannabis Commission. And does one thing from jump that is very smart. It puts immediate enforcement and licensing control up front. It also adds requirements for directors and people advisory boards, which is good because this is all brand new, and we're going to have a lot of new information and a lot of different concepts that are going to be coming out at our regulators. That bringing a what we call a black market, for lack of a better word, a illegitimate market, if you will, into the legitimate market. You're bringing in all of the good, but leaving out all the bad. The bad being money laundering issues, quality control issues, marketplace manipulation, price manipulation, any sort of antitrust issues, whether or not you allow vertical integration. There's a whole bunch of issues involving strictly cannabis itself that we've learned from alcohol as well as tobacco regulation that will be useful, because you have to remember an excise tax is what we're talking about, base level here. And the excise tax remains, speaking of which, the excise tax, let's do the quick tax. Excise tax is a tax meant to discourage use, or is sometimes known as a sin tax, for lack of a better word again. Another social equity, that's one thing I wanted to point out here. The social equity efforts in this bill. Very smart, because there has been a disparate impact on minority communities on the enforcement of prior cannabis laws, and we have to rectify that. I think this is a good step in that direction. The social equity director and those parties there, it will be important for public interface with them in order to make sure that they remember the purpose for this. So, the other angle of it here is assist the comptroller in collection of taxes general use, adult sales, cannabis sales, right here. We're getting our own little section of the Tax General article. Again, they've hit them all out of the park here on all the basic structure. Licensure requirements, implement procedures related to cannabis applications, licenses, or regulations, inventory management and tracking. Again, I touch on all of these things in my manuscript, and it's available for you guys to read. Kindle Unlimited is for free if you want to buy it, or just send me an email and let's talk. And inventory management, operating requirements, security, all of these things, packaging, labeling, health and safety, all of these issues that thankfully we already have a lot of them done in Maryland already, because we're just going to supplant the what this calls for, supplants the medical over into, where applicable, into the retail sales. Health and safety standards, mercury regulations. This is very well written. I think there was a lot of good thought that went into this. And it does a smart thing. It sets out immediately tax code and tax rates. And it's strictly, it does definitely show a very good structuring. You've got administering and enforcement clearly defined. There is no question of whether or not this is, a legitimate industry. Where you have some problems in some other recreational, for instance, in DC, the I-71 initiative. The I-71 initiative allows for gifting. I'm not seeing any details in here about gifting. However, it does allow for residents to grow for personal use, which I think is another win, especially for medical and enthusiasts as well. Again, medical use remains the same. I do believe that they're going to keep all of the issues. I see nothing new in here, although I do want to go over this and compare it with the current medical, but I do believe it's all in here. They have bumps, same in licensing, division may. Good. Now, here's another smart thing that because Maryland already has a well-established and well-regulated medical program, we now have a conditionally award to those medical dispensaries a retail license. Again, this is very, very smart. You have some certain requirements here, so it's not going to be every single one of the retailers. However, you will have it if they have enough space. They'll be able to essentially divide and have two sides of a wall. You show your medical card, you go through this way. If you're just a recreational purchaser, you're going to have to pay sales tax, which is good because we shouldn't be taxing medical supplies. But if this isn't being used for a medicinal purpose and it's just simply for a recreational use, so be it. If you do have a condition, you can go the medical route and save your sales tax. However, some people don't want the government to have all that information on them. Well, whatever their druthers is. But getting back to what I was saying about the Initiative 71, is the free gifting. Free gifting, I don't believe, is addressed here in this bill, which is fine. And I think that for some people, that's okay. We may not need free gifting, but we should be able to have a compassionate use. And if I've bought some recreational, I should be able to share it with somebody so long as they're able to. It's just like, hey, pick up a 6-pack of beer on your way over to watch the game. Hey, I'll pick up an eighth on the way over to watch the game. That's the whole thing. And again, we've got some good opening measures, amounts here, gross revenue. I'm really, really liking the depth that I'm seeing here. This is a well thought out bill. And the taxes, let's see, come on, get me down to some taxes. There we go. This is very, 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 very smart. Local jurisdictions may not. However, they may establish zoning requirements, which is okay, because a lot of local jurisdictions already have medical cannabis in there, so it's going to be an easier move in. The problem for some of these is for the tobacco shops and the OTP shops, for them to try to pivot into this, it may be a little bit more difficult, because then they may be butting up against zoning requirements. And this is allowing a local jurisdiction to set up a new zoning variance. But of course, it has to be reasonable. So then you go through a certain test. This is important here. They may not impose a tax on cannabis. So we are avoiding a problem that some jurisdictions have had, like I think California, that they have allowed county and even smaller city level taxes on cannabis sales. That's not being allowed here. That's very, very smart. Because you're going to have, in the event that you have, like, say, for instance, my dispensary here in Prince George's County, Prince George's says, no, we don't want any more, so we're going to do a 50% sales tax on your bill walking out the door. Let's just say it's allowed to stand. I'm going to Montgomery County. I'm not staying here. And that's going to, it alleviates an economic element of disparate impact. Again, I'm very, very encouraged by the text of this. I've done my own reading and research on it. Again, if you guys are interested in what my thoughts on this, take a look at my ebook, available on Amazon, link below. And more than happy to talk more about this. I think this is the next big industry to help a lot of people and for some socioeconomic change, as well as we're going to see a lot of positive things come about this. I think that we can do this the right way. So yeah, thanks again for joining me. This has been a rundown of HB0556, Cannabis Reform. It's a bill currently being under consideration in the Maryland General Assembly for the session for 2023. Hit me up. My LinkedIn, my book, everything is in the information below. Peace.